Hi everyone, welcome once again to A.O.S Abroad. Thank you very much for joining. Really do appreciate everyone for being a part of this again. Being a part of our live session. I don't take it for granted. Really appreciate. For those who are our clientele and who are just joining us as well, welcome once again. And as you know, every week at least we always come on live to talk about trending topics. And today is not going to be different. Today we are going to be talking about the trending topic as regards the sure alternatives to job offers. Sure alternatives to job offers as it relates to what? As it relates to permanent residency, express entry, particularly. And this is very crucial because at this point of time, a lot of people are wanting to ask questions. A lot of people are actually what do you call it now? They are already wanting to know their options when it comes to, oh, okay, I want to come to Canada. Which option do I have? Can I still come to Canada? Is it still possible for me to actually relocate to Canada? You understand, as a permanent resident, even without the job, because some people have started looking for jobs and some have gotten jobs, but they have not been able to use the jobs per se. So today we are going to be explaining in details what you need to know about job searches, what you need to know about the points, because now a lot of things have happened in Canada. Some policies have changed either for the better or for the other way around. And something about it is you should understand that things would always change, policies would always change, things would always happen. Instead of fighting changes or fighting policies, you just have to know what else you can do in order to, you understand, get that benefit you so desire, get that benefit you so want, which is of course to actually be able to relocate successfully to Canada. And I was happy during this week when I got to even learn that some of our clients as well have also been taking initiative and saying, okay, yes, let me do the IELTS. Some people even did their IELTS examination yesterday. Some people retook their papers, and some are working on visitor visas right now. Some are working on study permit, and there are a lot of things going on. But if some are doing it and we don't inform others, we are going to be doing a disservice to other people. So today in our live session, even though it's also because this is the end of the month, we are also sharing it in public. So it's not only our clientele that are joining us today, but we are also having other people from the other social media platforms also join us. So what am I saying in essence? What we are saying in essence is that today, right now, based on the CIC News, the Canada Immigration and Citizenship News website, just like we shared on the web on the screen right now, that some people are losing points, CRS points for arranged employment. You understand? And even though they are losing points, because some people think when you come to Canada or you want to come to Canada, you have to get a job. Yes, there are some programs that will require you to get a job, but it's not all programs that will require you to get a job. Apologies, I'm in the car today and it's actually raining here in Ontario, Canada. So apologies if you are not actually hearing me very well. So sorry for that, but we just had to how will I call it? We had to just do it nonetheless. So what we are saying in essence is if you want to get selected for Canada immigration and you were thinking that okay, job is the way you could do it, even though yes, there are still other programs that are still allowing you to actually come through getting a job offer, like the pilot programs. But on the express entry, which being the permanent program for permanent residents, this one doesn't really require you to actually what? It doesn't require you to get a job offer again. So we want to look at it that okay, are there other ways you can boost your scores for immigration to Canada? You understand? And if there are ways, just like one of the ways they want to talk about primarily today, which is the language test. If there are ways, how exactly can you actually benefit from that way? Some of our clients have been reaching us that, oh, I had maybe band 5 in IELTS, I had maybe band 6, you understand, before I started with you. Okay, I don't want to, even if I'm to write the IELTS again or to do this again, then I will just have like 5 additional points or 10 additional points. And sometimes it's difficult to explain to people without showing them proofs of what can happen, or without showing them proofs of the thing they can get, because sometimes it's all about showing people instead of just telling people that okay, this is what is prevalent, this is what you can actually get. So today, basically, through this live session, we want to explain to you that okay, why are we saying some people to take language tests? Why are we saying okay, if you have taken one before and you didn't get points, you can actually retake it? Why are we saying that oh, for those that are still waiting for French, um what they call it, results, especially if you did maybe the DEF exam or the TEF Canada exam, if you are still waiting for it, or maybe like you are some of our clients that are currently learning French, you understand, in order to actually be well prepared and to go take their TEF or TCF Canada exam themselves. So if you are in any of those categories, why do you really need to push on to actually do those language tests? Let's explain it deeply today. So today we're going to be making use of the article by Derek Shank, which he published on May 21st, 2025 on CIC News website, like the link that we showed you today. Now, some people may be asking, why are we always actually showing CIC News website? Especially, I've been using that approach now to explain a lot of things. And the reason is not far-fetched. Sometimes I would make some presentations, I would, you understand, have some slides that I create myself, but still some people still always kind of feel maybe this is not something prevalent in Canada, or this is something that I am just, you understand, cooking up. So some of the authorities that I see online, authorities like CIC News website, is one of the best places I feel you can get top-notch updates, and based on what they see, you'll be able to kind of juxtapose what I'm saying, if it is right or wrong. Do you understand? So we are going to be making use of their newsletter articles today. And as I said, if they said the title of the article is Lost CRS Points for Arranged Employment. That's the first question. Boost your score with language, what? Boost your score with language tests. So thank you very much, everyone. Again, Aziz Shudiru from Ontario, Canada. If you want to also participate or tell us where you are joining us from, write your name and your location, and would really appreciate having to hear from you on the live session. Now let's move on. Let's start reading the article. They said if you are seeking Canadian permanent residency through express entry, language proficiency can make or break your chances to success, or chances of success. And sometimes that's why, even if we're having these articles, I try to elaborate on these articles. For those of you that have been following Canada immigration for some time, you know that even if it is not express entry you want to do, if it is PMP you want to do, they will ask you for language tests. If it is caregiver pilot program like the one that they did March, they will ask you for language tests. If it is still this new rural immigration pilot, rural what they call it, immigration pilot, immigration community pilot program, they will still ask you for language test. If it is even francophone community immigration pilot programs, they will ask you for language test. See, so far you are coming in as a permanent resident, you can't escape language tests. It's just the truth. You have to do language tests to become a permanent resident, except if you actually go through asylum seeking, you go through becoming a refugee. It is that one that they will say, okay, at the level of you becoming a permanent resident, you may not be required to write language tests. But when you now want to become citizen, it may be added to your requirement under the citizenship what they call it, qualifications. But what we are saying, as a rule of thumb, if you are coming into Canada as a permanent resident, you require language tests. So now, as a sole applicant, if you are just coming alone, no, you are not coming with your family, or you are not even married yet, you don't have kids yet, you can score up to 310 comprehensive ranking system points for language proficiency. Now, look at this. Pinpoint this 310 points. Look at what they said. They said you can get up to 310 CRS points for just only language proficiency. Just only language proficiency. Now, some people will say, okay, I got by 5 or I got by 6. You are saying I should rewrite IELTS, and you are telling me I checked online. It is only 5 points I can get additional. It's only 10 points I can get. And sometimes I wonder, which online are they going to? Is it Canadian immigration website that you are going to that is telling you is only, you understand, 5 point, 10 point you can get in addition to what you have gotten before? Or is it just any social media platform you are just going on, any um website that is not, you understand, legit, that you're just going on to get fake news? But again, that's why we are here, to always debunk the myths and to give you accurate information about immigration. Now let's move on. They said maximizing your language points can give you an edge over other candidates in the increasingly competitive express entry pool. And not only express entry pool, as I've told you before, it can also give you more points under what? PNPs, provincial nominee program points. It can give you more under Quebec skilled worker program. It can give you more edge under pilot programs like the caregiver, like the rural community immigration pilot, the francophone community immigration pilot. Virtually almost all the permanent residency programs out there. Do you understand? Now, they said there is no limit to the number of times you can retake language tests. So as your language proficiency increases, you can retest yourself and boost your score in the latest or with the latest results. I always give an analogy. I remember when I was working on my own immigration from 2018 down to 2022, when I finally got selected, I had to write IELTS 3 times. Many people don't need to go that extent of writing IELTS 3 times. So because don't say because me I'm saying my own 3 times, then you have to do it 3 times. No, it's not compulsory that because I wrote it 3 times, you too have to write it 3 times. No, we have had clients that have written IELTS just once and at band 8, band 9. You understand? Some have even marked that IELTS at one sitting. Do you understand? But again, especially those that write IELTS, they are adults. So you can't force people to do what they don't want to do. And that is where we always explain to people that if you, for instance, did IELTS before you came to us, or you did IELTS while you were with us and you didn't get the desired points, don't despair. Do you understand? And even if you don't want to do IELTS, you don't like the exam, you don't like the organizers, you don't like this, you don't, ensure that I have the points that I so desire or I so require for what, for my permanent residency application. That's just what it requires sometimes. Sometimes it just needs you to be dedicated that okay, this thing, other people are doing it. Yes, those people too don't have two heads. Then if they don't have them, me too, I can do it, I can make it happen, I can work it out for myself and my family. Do you understand? Now, so what are we saying in essence? If you can get a high enough French proficiency, for instance, in addition, you can qualify for French language category based draws, which have seen some of the lowest CRS cutoff scores of any draws in 2024 and even this year, 2025. Now, last year we did something, and most times I was telling people that yes, in fact, your English results as a last year doesn't really matter if you are focusing on French, because if you are giving your best to French and you get band 7 at least in the speaking, listening, writing, reading, compréhension écrite, compréhension orale, expression écrite, expression orale, you are more or less guaranteed permanent residence, because now they are picking more people that have that French result than others that don't have the French results. Do you understand? So that's why we centered so much last year on French. But as it's becoming more challenging, more difficult, a lot of people have to write the French results 2 3 times before they get it. We tell them, okay, if you don't even want to even take the French training, you don't even want to actually you don't have the time, because some people even started classes, they couldn't continue because of work, because of family and things like that. We tell them, okay, fine, if that is the issue right now, at least try to max out your I.O.S results. Try to max out your CELPIP results. Try to max out your PT core results. Once you max that out, then we can now look at programs that language tests can actually be used to, you understand, get you qualified for permanent residence. Now let's look at some of the language proficiency CRS points so that you really understand and you make this drive in further into what we are saying today. Now we have 3 sections basically of the CRS grid, where they always give you points on your language proficiency. And the maximum point for language proficiency you can get for number 1, the core human capital factors, is 160 points. So imagine someone that now had by CLB or CLB4 or CLB5 or CLB6 having like 10 points, I mean on 100 points, and telling me that HB is only 5 points I can get extra, it's only 10 points I can. Where are you getting your stats from? You understand? If you max out, you get maybe like band 8, you can get additional 60 points. You understand? In some situations, additional 80 points, additional 50 points. So not doing it is going to be a disadvantage to you than you understanding the factors that can get you more points and quickly, you understand, going to pursue it. Many people leave this one and they say, okay, they want to come to school. There's nothing wrong with school, as I do always say it. You can come to studies if that is what you want. If you have tens of thousands of dollars, you have 20, like the immigration consultant, the last time he came on board and he was talking about study permits, he said, before you can even take anybody serious about study permits, you have to understand that at least you need $20,000. That is in Nigerian naira, even though it is more than that in Nigerian naira. But in Nigerian naira, let's just say 20 million naira. At least to be considered serious that yes, you want to do study permits. Now imagine people are running away from language proficiency tests that will take them maybe like 250,000 naira to do. But they are saying, okay, they want to come into Canada to study to spend 20 million. If you have the money, no issues. In fact, no issues. Because even that 20 million, our consultant was saying that it's just for the tuition fee to pay to a school. You still have not actually factored in your flight tickets. You haven't factored in your what? Your living expenses, the rent. In fact, rent in Canada for like, you can be spending at least 500,000 naira, $500 at least for just one room or one bed space. If for instance you now say you want to even have 2 rooms, 3 rooms, you can be spending as much as 1.5 to 2 million naira per month. You understand, on rent alone. Now some people say okay, let me first get in first. If I get in, I'll be working. Of course, as a student you can work. You understand? But again, you have to analyze very well that the work that you're going to do, is it going to be able to cater for your tuition fee, your living expenses, your rent, your flight ticket? You understand? A lot of things. And some people have even, they are owing already from their home country before they come into Canada, because some of us from Africa, we didn't even have money when we were coming. We had to borrow. Do you understand? So now imagine you not even have to actually pay back the monies that you were owing back home, that you collected as loan, maybe from your family members or from all these loan sharks. That's why a lot of people, you understand, when you come into a country, like Canada, and this you don't plan well what you do, how you achieve what you came for. Some people get burnt out easily. You understand? And there were some sad stories I was hearing, you understand, during the week or rather during the month about someone actually committing suicide. Why? Because you understand the pressures to succeed, pressures to actually, you understand, send money back home, pressures to do things. It is killing some people basically. You understand? Especially people from India, people from Nigeria, people from other places in the world. So you have to understand that if you want to come to Canada, it may suffice for you to do it the right way, right from back home, than coming even into Canada to say you now want to actually do it German German. Now that's the number one factor, the core human capital factor. The number two factor you can get additional points for your language proficiency is the skill transferability factors. And that one they have 100 factors, which is the 100 points, which is the maximum. 50 points, you understand, for your language proficiency. And sometimes they'll say for your education, maybe your bachelor's or your master's, or maybe in some situations they'll say your language, your work experience. You can give you additional 50 points on that again. And of course, this is where French now comes in. If you have French knowledge, if you have French results, the additional point you can get for French, you understand, is 50 points for the additional French points you actually. So if we look at this, what they said initially that you can get about 320 points or 310 points cumulatively, you understand, for language proficiency is correct. Because if we look at this 160 points, the 100 points, the 50 points, that shows that yes, 160 plus 100, of course, is what? 260. 260 plus 50 is what? 310 points just for language proficiency. And this is what a lot of people are not serious about, mainly because people are complaining, these people, they're just collecting money for, which I know, yes, they are collecting money from me because you have to rewrite it. But again, you have to understand that it is not only for their own benefit, too, it is for your benefit. I, for instance, that I wrote IELTS 3 times. The money that I used to pay for IELTS 3 times that I wrote, I have made more than it ever since I've been in Canada. Do you understand? So it is not, some people are always short-sighted to just see the underlying problems at a glance initially, but they are not futuristic to see the benefit that that problem would create, you understand, in the future for them. It is you that want to come to Canada, but it's you that are yes, the money may not be available right now. It's understandable. And that's why, for instance, I remember when I did my first IELTS 2018, the year 2018, that was when I did my first IELTS. I didn't have money to do West. I didn't have money to, you understand, proceed. I waited again to 2020 after COVID to actually start it again. It's understandable. But note that, yes, if you want to come as a permanent resident, you understand? Because some people will say they don't have money for permanent to pay for language tests, but you now have money to go and do study permit. No problem. If you have the money, go and do it. If you have the money, do it. But if you don't have the money, instead of complaining, try to be strategic to see how else you can get the points you need, you understand, through the other options that are available, which may not necessarily even need you to be in Canada first. Now, let's give an example, a particular example of people that can use their language proficiency to actually come into Canada as permanent residents. Amy, for instance, she has a cumulative ranking system, comprehensive ranking system, CRS score of 515. This one is even high, it's on the high side, which is not enough to qualify for any of the three most recent Canadian Experience Class CEC draws, because of course Amy is already in Canada. That's another thing. Some people always think that if you're in Canada, then it is like guaranteed for you to become a permanent resident. Is not. Is not guaranteed. We have clients that we work with that are already in Canada. So the fact that you're in Canada, some people, I remember there's one of my friends in our Muslim community right here, and he was telling me that he has actually spent about 3 years in Canada. That, let's say, he knew he will not come to Canada as a student, and that's why a lot of people, let's say, is what they will say at the end of the day when they finally come. But when people are saying it back home, that don't come through visit, don't come through study, come through permanent resident, which will give you peace of mind, people will not hear. This guy that I'm talking about, he has been in Canada more than I have been in Canada. You understand? He was in Canada a year before me. Do you understand? I came in, I've just used barely 2 years right now. You understand? May 19. or May 19 made it the second year, like our second anniversary in Canada. He has been in Canada. He has done 2 programs. He has spent $37,000. 37. When I heard that money, I said it is not only you that will do PR. You will do PR. Your family will do PR. All of them will come with you because yes, I did. How much did I spend every time completely when I was doing my own? 6.7 million. That's what I spent on permanent residence. You understand? Way back. And my common law partner came with me. Likewise, if you have a family, you can come, your spouse can come, your children can come. You understand? With permanent residence, and you will not spend up to $37,000. He spent 37. Yes, he said he got part-time jobs. He was doing. You understand? He was gaining experience. He was doing it. He said even with the jobs he was doing, 2, 3 jobs, he was still not able to cater for his expenses. He still had to be collecting money from back home to sustain himself. He collected money from back home, and this is a young chap that he was doing over 12 hours job, the 14 hours job per day. You understand? Per day. Imagine people working that much. Even with that, he said the employer that employed him, they are not willing to actually help him for permanent residence. You understand? Because yes, you can't force people to help you for permanent residence, whether you like it or not. You can't force them. It is if they are willing, they will do it for you. They will assist you, they will support you, you understand, through employment, through job offer. But if they are not willing, you can't force them. The thing that legally they have to do for you is to pay you your salary or your wages. That is what they can do for you legally. Yes, if they don't do that one for you, you can complain. But you cannot complain to IRCC that I have been working for this person for 2 years. He did not help me with the job offer. No, it's not. It is not his duty. It is not his obligation to help you for any job offer. It is if they are willing. If they are not willing, if they don't see that they really need you long term, if they don't feel that okay, you are an asset to their company, if they don't feel that yes, okay, this person, if I really help this person, I gain a lot. They don't. And you know the funny thing, because of course I've spoken to employers here in Canada. Some of them will say sometimes when they work with immigrants and they help immigrants to actually even get their permanent residence. When they have their permanent residence, you understand, they will leave their job and go and because of course as a permanent resident you have the liberty now to actually do any job you want, to leave one province to another, you understand, you have that liberty. So they know that they can't hold you. The employers too they are fending for themselves. They know they can't hold you once you get your permanent residence. You can decide to leave their company and go and work for another company. So then they will look that, oh, with all the money that they use to sponsor you, with all the stress, with all the documentation, with everything, they will just help you. You will just say, okay, it is that time that they are not paying you well again. It is that time that the money that they are paying you is small. You say, okay, you're not more doing, you resign. And you got, of course, because of course, people always think about themselves, and it's understandable. Myself, as I'm talking, I think about myself first before I think about anybody. I will think about myself. It is human nature. You understand? So the way you two are thinking about yourself as an employee, as an immigrant, the employer too that want to employ is thinking about his own business and his own benefits. So if he doesn't see you as someone that they will benefit from long term, they won't help you. It's as simple as that. Just like this case of my friend that I talked about in our community. Now, God forbid, I don't even want to say it, but you understand, it doesn't pay for you to be an illegal immigrant. That's just the basic thing. It doesn't pay, because at the end of the day, you understand, and it's not only a thing that is only limited to Nigerians. It's not limited to Africans. Sometimes we go outside, we go on the, you understand, on the road, and we see beggars in Canada. Yes, so there are beggars in Canada too. But why are they begging? If you listen to some of their stories, it's not because they are not well to do from their home country. It's not because they didn't spend millions, you understand, to come into Canada, to study in Canada, to work in Canada, but because, you understand, the right papers are not available for them. And because they don't have the right papers, they can't work good jobs. They can't get good jobs that will pay them good money. You understand? Or they can't even set up a business whereby they will be earning themselves without even looking for a job abroad. These are some of the issues that we are talking about today. So, Amy, for instance, she had 515 points, which is way above some points that some people will even have from back home. Me, for instance, when I came into Canada, I didn't have this 515 points, and I was never in Canada. I had just 493 points through PMP. But Amy has 515. She didn't get selected because the cutoffs were 527, 521, and 547 for people that are inside Canada. For people that are inside Canada that have Canadian experience. If you don't have Canadian experience, the CRS point you need is lower. Do you understand? So Amy is 30 years old. She has a bachelor's degree from a Canadian university, number one. That means she has Canadian education. Two, she has 3 years of foreign work experience. That means she has been in Canada for 3 years. 3 years of foreign work experience. She has had a work experience from back home. And she had 5 years of Canadian work experience. 5 years. That means she has been in Canada for 5 years, working in Canada for 5 years. And an English proficiency of Canadian language benchmark, CLB 8, across all language abilities. Imagine someone that has been in Canada for 5 years. She has not yet become a permanent resident. She's still trying to walk through express entries, Canadian experience class to get a permanent resident status. Now, Amy studies for several months, retakes her English language test. Now, look at this. Look at this. These are some of the salient information people don't know. There's one of our clients, Mr. Jones, for instance, that maxed out his IELTS in one sitting. That was the first time he was ever writing it, and he had band 9. Do you understand? And how did this person do it? He told me that, okay, yes, we had training of 3 weeks. We had training of 5 weeks because we have noticed it statistically that when people are taking training for 3 weeks, 5 weeks, they become bored. They say, JB is English now, let me go and write it. So we say, okay, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. But we still have the option of, okay, the 3 weeks and the 5 weeks, you can combine it to 2 months. You understand? To get grounded before you go and write the exam. And that was exactly what this man did. He combined the 3 weeks training, he combined the 5 weeks training, you understand? And he took a lot of Cambridge IELTS materials, he treated a lot of past questions, he did a lot of things. Do you understand? And now he had the CLB 9. With the CLB 9, he was able to amass about 450 points. Do you understand? Which would more or less help him to actually qualify in the next rounds of invitation. Now look at this. Even with this CLB 8 that Amy got, which was a person that is in Canada, that has experience in Canada, that got a work. If you look at it, they said she has what? Now let me analyze it for you because you may not really understand it. She has a bachelor's degree from a Canadian university. At least a bachelor's degree, before you can get it in Canada, it will take 3 years. At least there are some bachelor's degree that can take 4. You understand? But at least 3 years. So that means she studied in Canada for 3 years. She also has work experience in Canada for 5 years. So if we do the addition, that is 8 years. Or in some situations, it may be that she was concurrently working while she was studying. So at least 5 to 6 years, 5 to 6 years, she has been in Canada without becoming a permanent resident. Now she's now striving to become permanent resident. But the first IELTS she did, the CLB 8 she got was not enough because the competition was high. So she had to study for several months again. You know, she has done IELTS before the first time. She now studied again to get IELTS, to retake it, you understand, the second time. But she studied for, they said, several months. Our own clients, for instance, we told you that he studied for 2 months. And with that 2 months, with intensive training, he was able to have his band 9. Some people have not even studied for a month. They are complaining that IELTS is not like them. They are complaining that the marking scheme is somehow. This is that. This is that. Do you understand? I remember when I was doing my own. The first IELTS I wrote, I even got, I got my band 8. But I was saying, this thing is easy now. Don't let me do. Can you let me go and focus on my business? I was using the results I got to teach people. You understand? To earn more money. I did not know that I didn't have sense. I was meant to use the results to do my own immigration as far back as 2018. I did not have sense. I gotta be focusing on something that I did not lose. When I was now ready, after pandemic struck and lockdown, he showed me Pepe. That time, I now had band 7. I did not have band 8 again. I failed. Basically. So at the end of the day, I had to, because that time it was still competitive, just like this too. It was competitive just like this too. 2022, 2023, it was competitive. It was 2024, early 2024, we were thinking that, okay, it was already becoming easier for people to come in. And that's why we were saying, okay, people should just get any score in IELTS, you understand, and use French to push it. But now, even English and French, you need more points. Because things are changing and you have to understand the changes and work with the changes. Amy, for instance, that has been in Canada for 5 to 6 years, she hasn't gotten a PR. She had to study for several months. She retook it, and with that, she got a CLB 9 across all abilities. Someone may be asking, oh, me too, do I need to get CLB 9 before I can actually do it from outside Canada? The answer is no, you don't need to. Everybody has their own distinct or their own different scenarios. You are not like other people. Other people are not like you. Do you understand the idea? So everybody has their own different things. Do you understand what we are trying to say? So the fact that one person did it does not mean you too, okay, this is the thing that you have to face. Do you understand? Now, they said a CRS score increases from 515 to 559. Imagine, this is when some people will be telling me that Shebi, if I go and rewrite it, Shebi, it's just like 5 marks or 10 marks that we get. Look at this addition of 5 or subtraction of 559, because sometimes we have to do calculation to make people understand this thing. 559 minus 515, that is 44 additional points. 44, a whole 44 additional points that the person got, not by going to go and do masters, not by going to go and get extra years of experience, not just by rewriting IELTS. She had 44 extra points. 44. You understand? Which is more than enough to qualify her for the most recent CEC draws. And with that, she was able to actually get to, you understand, get invited. Now, they said with a CLB 9, Amy could have expected to receive an invitation to apply for Canadian permanent residence through express entry if she had had a valid profile at the time of each draw. Now, as we can see from this example, boosting your language score by even one CLB, we're not talking about 2, we're not talking about 3, 1 CLB level can make you much more competitive as an express entry candidate. And as I said, it's not even only express entry, it works for PR or PMP, it works for Quebec Skill Local Program, it works for some pilots too. You understand? The more points you get on your language proficiency, the better your chances, basically. So here's a breakdown of Amy's CRS score at CLB 8 and CLB 9 with the differences bolded. Now, I like what they did here. They explain, this is so detailed. If me, if I'm to write article, I may not go as detailed as this. Now, they said factor the point with CLB 8, point with CLB 9. Her age, of course, her age when she wrote IELTS did not change. It's still 105. It's still 105. Because most times when people will write IELTS, they say several months she trained. So it may be that it's still in the same year. Abi? Of course, it's still in the same year she did the IELTS. So you too, if you want to come to Canada, you understand, get invited, you may just have to take 2 weeks of training. 2 months of training. 2 months of training. This is May. In July, for instance, you can write your IELTS. You understand? You can write CELPIP, you can write your PT, and you understand, marks the result out. Level of education, of course, the bachelor's she had when she started was still the bachelor's she had. So 120 and 120, still the same thing. No changes to the bachelor's, no changes to the age. But when it comes to the official language proficiency, before she had 92 points under core human factors. But after she did it, she had 124 points. Many people, we have noticed that many people just always look at these human core factors. They don't look at the skill transferability factors they can get. They don't look at all other factors like we have showed you before. You understand? That's why some people say, okay, it's just 5 points that I can get additional. It's just 10 points. What would that one do to my permanent residency application? It's because when you came to say you want to get guided in the process, someone is guiding you, but you are doing oversabi as if you know more than the person again. That's why sometimes it's pays for us to do all this analysis and calculation and show you what is prevalent. Now, Canadian work experience that she got before was still 80. The one she get again, still 80. She didn't add any extra year. But for the skill transferability, language proficiency plus the post-secondary education that she had, which was the bachelor's, instead of 13 now, because she has already done her ELTS again and get a better score, she had 25. So if you look 25 minus 13, that's what 12 points additional. Maybe this is what some people were looking at as skill transferability, telling me that it's only 5 points, I'll be 10 points they can add to it. Now, again, skill transferability Canada, everything still was the same. Everything. Our skill transferability work experience Canada 25-25. Foreign work experience was still 50-50 points. Post-secondary education in Canada was 30-30 points. The only thing that changed was what? The language proficiency, because she increased from band 8 to band 9. Some people were telling them all you just need to do is increase from band 6 to band 7, or increase from band 7 to band 8. But people are not willing. Now, in going from CLB 8 to CLB 9, Amy gained an additional 44 points, 32 points in language portion of core human capital, and 12 for the education skill transferability factor. Now, mind you, Amy doesn't have French yet, too. Because, of course, we are telling people that, yes, if you have French, you get a better chance. But sometimes, even with the English you have, you see, they told you can get points from 2 ways for English proficiency test: human capital and educational skill transferability. So even those two self, even just having an added point in your either I.O.S, in your CELPIP, or in your PT can actually significantly improve your chances to get a permanent resident. You look at it. Tips for boosting your language test score. What are some of these tips that can assist to boost your language test score? Number one, you have to study daily. It's very important. Mr. Jones, for instance, that we used as a case study, he was saying, even though it was not consistent in some days, yes, we are humans, you may not be consistent in some days. You have to study daily. Frequency is the key to building your language proficiency. You have to make studying English or French or the both of them into a daily habit by building it into your what? Into your routine, and also giving yourself a reward for completing each study session. Many a times through our online courses, we tell people that if you take online courses, you treat maybe Cambridge English, you get good results. You understand? Take yourself on a treat. You can go get a shawarma or a pizza to benefit, to show yourself that yes, you have okay. Funny Bunny 369. Thank you. I saw your rules that you sent. Really appreciate. You just got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you. So you have to make sure that you study well. You see, sometimes instant gratification, that's what some people always like, especially Nigerians, Africans. They like instant gratification. That, oh, if I'm not migrating now, then this thing is scam. If I not get the result now, then this thing is not coming again. No, life, even your own life, self, look into your life. Look into your life. If you want a child, you have to wait for 9 months to get that child. Even if you have started working right now, and God willing, your wife gets pregnant, immediately you work. If your wife doesn't get pregnant, that 9 months will still not start. It is until you understand the egg fertilized with the sperm before it becomes a child. I don't know why that analogy just came to my head, but what we are trying to say is sometimes it may take you more iterations, more times to do something before you finally get it. Rome, as they say in English, was not built in a day. Don't expect that, okay, of course, we always say it's based on the immigration websites that 6 months. 6 months is what permanent residence can actually take. Based on the immigration website, which I've showed severally on the live session, that if we look at the live session of the Canadian immigration website, rather, the Canadian immigration website will say for express entry, especially federal skilled worker program, it will take 6 months to process. But that is, of course, again, for someone that already has their documentations are right. They have already been selected. They have been invited to apply for permanent residence, and they have submitted their application. Oh, okay. Thank you. I see a comment here from Funny Bunny 369. She's saying that I am starting a platform for improving articulation in English, which will fix accents faster. I live in Ontario. Oh, okay. Funny Bunny 369. That is good. Welcome and congratulations on your platform. So let's move on. We were saying again that after you study daily, the next thing you have to do is to immerse yourself. Immerse yourself in the language you want to improve on, whether it be the English language or the French language. Immersion in a language can help you build much more proficiency much more quickly. Do you understand? So if you are looking to boost your French skills, for example, consider enrolling in an immersion or exchange program where you would be in a completely French speaking environment for at least 6 to 8 weeks. And that brings me to my point where I, yes, that brings me to my point where we, for instance, at A.O.S abroad, as you know, we're a language school, an online language school where we train people on French language. You understand? We can help you learn the language and simultaneously prepare yourself for the what? For the TEF Canada, the test d'évaluation de français du Canada, or the TEF, the test de connaissance du français du Canada, the TCF Canada, or the diplôme d'études de la langue française, or the diplôme d'approfondi de la langue française. Any of those examinations you want to take, we can always prepare you for that and immerse you in the language so that you have a better chance of actually getting selected. Now, okay, Funny Bunny 369 says, I know that employment depends on being understood. French is an easier language for Nigerians. Oh, if you say that, some people may not agree with that point, even though it's a valid point. Yes, it may be easier for Nigerians, but for those who are willing to actually train and learn the language very well. If you're not willing to train, we have, because I mean, we are language coaches, so we have had access to students, a lot of students that don't want to, they don't even want to relax to learn French. Okay, but we have, there's a man now that is actually currently learning French. He's 49 years of age and he's learning French. And you know, sometimes the excuses some people give when you see other people doing that thing, you now note that, oh, it is the problem is not the age, or the problem is not this set of people. The problem is your own mentality or your own thinking that, oh, because I'm old, I can't do these things, or because I don't have time. Yes, this man is a lecturer. Some people say, okay, because he's a lecturer, he's already in the educational system. Shut up. Oh. He's already in someone that is teaching political science, but he still has time to learn French. What is the linkage between political science and French? You understand? But some people will always be looking for excuses where there are no excuses. Okay, the two languages share the same problems in articulation in English. Oh, okay. Thank you, Funny Bunny 369. So let's move on. We were saying this third tip you can use to actually learn French well is to what? Is to get real world practice. So there's a big difference between just doing vocabulary or grammar exercises on Duolingo. Thank God the person said Duolingo, versus actually using the language in real life. In the real life. And that is where our language coaches come in and the language tutors. They will talk with you, not just you taking exercises, not just you doing vocabulary exercises. They will talk with you, they will interact with you. You would also have access to other students like you that have either taken the lectures before, you understand, that are part of our group, or other groups that we have always, like for instance, Mr. Lawal that is actually taking the classes right now. You understand? He has access to various WhatsApp groups, various Telegram groups. He's even doing some Zoom meetings with people. You understand? The fact that, okay, we are not in Nigeria or in Ghana does not mean you cannot learn French with us. It just means how serious are you with learning French. Some of our people will tell them, okay, listen to RFI, which is Radio France Internationale. You understand? You listen, okay, someone even said, even watching television shows can help build fluency. Of course, it can help build fluency for those that are willing to watch. You understand? Sometimes I do tell people, even your gadgets, if you see some articles online, you understand, you can just switch on YouTube, listen to how people talk. You understand? French people, in order to learn the language, you understand, versus you just doing exercises on the platform of Duolingo, as they said. So make sure that in addition to studying, you are flexing your language muscles in the real world regularly. A conversation group or even a book club can help if your day-to-day routine doesn't include enough real-world practice. Another major thing is you need to do is to take practice tests. One of the things that I did so much in my second attempt of writing IELTS, in my third attempt of writing IELTS, is to make use of a lot of past questions, a lot of study materials. For those that actually know us, we have a license with Prep My Future, which is like the flag exam preparation platform that actually helps people to prepare for IELTS, for TOEFL, for TEF Canada, for TCF Canada, for DELF, and many of their past questions. We have them on our website. Many of their study materials, we have them on our website because we have a license to actually share and to teach with them. So how are you practicing with, like, for instance, the Cambridge materials we have? You have to take practice tests because they help in two major ways. First, okay, someone said Funny Bunny 369 says, I used soap operas with my younger female students. They had to report back to me about the shows. Good. That's a very good way. When you are listening to soap operas, for instance, watching films, do you understand? With the use of films that are making use of British accents, American accents, Australian accents, Canadian accents, you can easily, quickly learn English and perfect your English for the test. Some people don't know that. You understand? For the test, so that you are some of our students yesterday actually went for their language examinations, the IELTS examination specifically, and they were telling me that, oh, the listening, even though they have been taking some practices, they some of them were caught off guard when they were actually listening to the um listening record. And that's where the training comes in again, that even if you were caught off guard, don't fidget or don't be so, you understand, scared about those ones. Just focus on the other ones. Focus on the other. You may lose 1 point, you may lose 2 points in, you understand, just one. Who is this one now? You may just lose points in just one or two, how would I call it now, one or two questions. But if you focus on the other ones, you may actually get more points in the other ones, and the one that you missed may not actually, you understand, matter much. So basically, the first thing is to practice tests. Practice test is very, very important. Practice tests, practice tests to familiarize yourself both with the material itself and with the structure of the test, because all the tests differ in the way they structure it. Because and this would enable you to build language skills and test taking skills at the same time. Because if you know what they're actually doing, if you know how the test is being what they call it, formulated, you can get a better chance to actually getting a good result. The second thing is to use your practice test. Practice tests can help you what, become more comfortable with the test process and with the what, with the testing environment. If you know that, okay, this is the way they run the tests, you know that, okay, yes, they will make use of recordings of audios where native English speakers are speaking, talking about different occurrences, different contexts, different discussions. You'll be able to know that, okay, oh, this is what you expect. This is what you expect from what, from the test, and you'll be much more prepared for the exam before it actually comes. Now, so another thing is increased comfort. Increased comfort and familiarity can make you more relaxed for your real exam. If you know, that's why we always have mock exams, for instance, that we do with people. The mock exams that we do, you understand, with people, can help you feel as if you are in the real exam center, and you could have known that, okay, this is how the exam is being done, this is how relaxed you need to be, because the more relaxed you are, the better you will be able to perform, and the less likely you'll be able to make silly mistakes or become, you understand, frustrated or flustered. So, okay, Funny Bunny 369 is also saying, I am targeting those who are already functional in English but have accents that miscommunicate. Okay, that's good. And also make use of past tenses. That's cool. That's cool. Thank you very much, Funny Bunny. Now, another thing we also need to talk about is taking advantage of free resources. There are a lot of free resources out there, though you have to be very careful now not to take advantage of free resources that is going to harm you instead of benefiting you. You understand? There are various free and affordable resources you can find online. You understand? On YouTube, of course, many people go on YouTube, but I don't always tell people there are some much more current materials. It's not everything on YouTube that are current. Do you understand? So you have to note that platforms change. test materials, test resources that they use change. So you have to keep yourself abreast of what is available. You understand? For instance, if you go on the website prepmyfuture.com, they have various free and paid versions. If you don't want to pay for it, especially for our clients that are already with us, you can get them for free already on our website. You understand? aosacademy.com, because that would ensure that you are ready for the test day and would help you actually prepare well. Now, language testers often provide resources themselves. So you can go on IELTS website, ielts.org or britishcouncil.org. They provide website resources themselves. This can help you to understand exactly what to expect from the exam and how you can what prepare efficiently or effectively. Now, lastly, take advantage of resources like free sample tests, interactive online practice tools, comprehensive study guides, expert instructor-led webinars, and full-time or full-length practice tests that simulate the real testing environment, which can help you feel more prepared on the test day. All right. So that being said, thank you very much, everyone. I see a lot of likes on Funny Bunny 369. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. If we have any questions whatsoever, let's ask right now. If we have any questions or any comments we would like to contribute, let's also contribute. Would really appreciate that. And don't forget, every week at least we come on live once a week to talk about trending topics like this as it relates to Canada immigration. And today we were talking about the sure alternative to job offers for PR. Sometimes we even hear online that they say some people sell jobs 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 Canadian dollar, 50,000, and so much like that. And I do tell people, me, I don't even advise people to get jobs. I don't advise people because most times those things may be scams. So I don't advise people to actually do it. Rather, instead of you spending tens of thousands of dollars doing all those things, or even coming to school, I would still say people should come to school because, of course, you know the company you are paying to, you know the school, the universities you are paying to, the colleges these are renowned, you understand, institutions. So there's no issue with that. But if you can't afford it, or you have to go and loan to actually afford it, it may not be as beneficial to you, you understand, to do than to just forget about that and focus on what you can control. What you can control is IELTS. What you can control is TEF Canada, TCF Canada, CELP, PT. Do you understand? So you can focus on those ones, get much more qualified, you understand, for permanent residence on to Canada through that, so that you'll be able to immigrate. And when you will finally get into Canada, you'll be much more confident in yourself that yes, you can speak to any Canadian anyhow. You will not be fidgeting to communicate with people. You understand? And you know that you actually have something, you understand, that gives you that peace of mind, basically, for the status you have. Do you understand? So Funny Bunny 369 is saying, how did you learn to say vowel initial words without adding an aspirated H? Oh, okay. Well, I would say firstly, as a Nigerian, I think we speak English. English is our how would I call it, our official language. But apart from that, I studied linguistics in the school in my own bachelor's degree. So and as a linguistics major, I was introduced to many of the sounds, many of the phonics and phonetics of English language. So I think maybe that's what helped me in my own scenario. But it may be different for other people. You understand? Thank you very much for that question, though. Even though it's so different from the normal questions that I get. So me too. I love linguistics. Oh, congratulations. Well, that's the beauty of linguistics. Even though in Nigeria people don't really appreciate linguists and polyglots like me. People don't appreciate them because people just what can we use language to do? What can we? But of course, it's useful in other countries, first world countries like Canada, the UK, and the US. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Please, if we don't have any questions again, then we'll call it a day. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit on the notification bar, and don't forget to always join us weekly for live sessions. We hold live sessions at least once a week, so you can always join subsequently. Okay, Funny Bunny 369 says, but removing the H, you are still okay, no problem. I will be taking note of that. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, and do have a lovely day ahead. Bye for now.